Howdy folks, this is a midweek shave for me, Wednesday morning. It's about 10 after 4 in the morning in the AM for me. I'm an early riser when it comes to getting my shave in. Today I guess you might say it comes with a little bit of a disclaimer. I am using a shavette that I am using this blade in, Schick Injector blade, but I am using it in a classic samurai shavette that is not designed to hold one of those blades in there. How it's being held in is by, I'm assuming what is referred to as this swing clamp. And I did just a little bit of a short run, test run to see how it would hold up yesterday. Just one pass. Not a complete pass, just one stroke, I guess you might say. And as you can see, it's still holding in there. Looks like the blade gap is where it should be. And going to give it a try and see how it shaves. Because this would be more or less the equivalent of, let's say, like a feather shavette with a thicker blade in it. And this blade, the Schick Injector blade, is about the, it's about the same length of a half of a DE blade. In other words, pretty close to what I'm normally using. The soap of the day is going to be Zoe's Beauty Boutique. We got the tobacco caramel. This soap, its consistency is very soft. It does not take much effort to put your finger in it. It is probably closer to a crope. Great scent to it. I'm not very good at describing scents, and my nose is messed up anyway, but also as it goes for the ingredients, it is pretty, I don't know if you can see that, pretty short ingredient list. You can find Jamie's stuff on Etsy, and I used the, I already got shaving cream on it, shaving brush, Omega S, synthetic in other words. Already got some of the lather whipped up, and I've got a little bit on the wet side, moist side if you will, and it's in the what I guess is called hibachi bowl. In other words, it's got ribs in it where you can crush up like nuts or whatever. Anyway, this is pretty creamy right now. This is going to be the aftershave of the day. English leather. Got my witch hazel, Dickinson. Trusty alum block complete with rubber band. Kreml beard balm. That's what it looks like. Has a spearmint scent to it. And I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Get my face wet. I've already put the hot towel to the face today. That's my usual routine. And we're going to go ahead and see how this shave works out. Kind of excited about it. Have every expectation there it's going to go well. It's an experiment, so I'm doing this, I guess you might say, at my own risk. So if you decide to follow my footsteps, just be aware. It's in a classic samurai shavette. I don't know if it'll work in all styles of shavettes like that. Like I said, it's not designed to fit in a shavette like that. But I'm going to give it a try and see how it works for me. I guess you might say what kind of sparked the idea in a roundabout way is you hear about some folks that might have a DE razor, double-edged safety razor, that might be using a shim. So decided, well, maybe I ought to give this a try and see how it works for me. And as it goes for the construction, if you've not seen one of these before, the handle here, the scales, is plastic. It has what I refer to as a spacer or added support here, so that the scales are very sturdy. Minimal flexing, more or less no flexing. There's not. It's a very sturdy set of scales. We'll get started with pass number 1 here. See how this works. I'm assuming you'll have something similar to a feather shavette feel to it, that is. In that there, I don't know how to explain it, but when you talk, when you refer to a DE blade and a feather style blade or a Schick Injector style blade, the blade is thicker and it has a different feel to it when you shave with it. I can say that in the feather, this is the blade I'm using in the feather, and yeah, there is a sharp feel to this one. I don't have the same feel with this one here. It feels pretty smooth so far. It was just an idea. It was floating around in my head. Decided to go ahead and give it a try and see how it works, and decided why not put it on a video. I guess you might say the maiden voyage. That swing clamp feels fairly tight to me. This particular shavette's not even a year old, so in other words, I don't feel like it's been, how can you say, worn, where the clamp may maybe not be as tight as it used to be when it was new. It still feels fairly snug. Haven't really noticed any difference in between when it was new and now, so felt fairly confident that it'd hold it in place. So far, it's doing the job. I guess you might have to keep in mind also is the amount of pressure that you're putting on a shavette when you're shaving. It's not that great. Great meaning that much pressure. I enjoy shaving with this shavette. One of the design features that I like besides the scales, I like the color of the scales red. I like that color. But the spacer for the help it for the being sturdy, and that notch right there, to me, just it feels comfortable for me. As you can see, the shaving soap's plenty slick enough. I really enjoy her soaps. Her soaps are, I like her various scents. Most of her soaps, when she offers them on an Etsy, she also offers them in a 2-ounce container. Makes it a little bit easier to acquire more scents without having to buy the full puck. In other words, the typical 4-ounce size. So in other words, if you figure it this way, how you're coming out ahead by buying like a 2-ounce puck is that you're able to get more scents for the full puck price. So in other words, you'd have 2 for the 1 normally. So in other words, if you're looking at having to spend $14 for a full one, you spend $7 for half the size. You'll be able to experience more of the scents that a person may have to offer. I guess you might say a larger sample size, if you will. Instead of a sample size of an ounce or less. Gives you a few more shaves to use with it, especially if you're bowl lathering. It's going pretty smooth. It is a little bit different than a feather in that I don't have, it doesn't feel as edgy as the Super Blade does. This actually feels smoother. May have stumbled onto something here. Get ready for pass number 2 here. Matter of fact, I think I'm liking it better than using a DE blade. It's feeling pretty good. Guess you might say I'm surprised, because when I did a test run it was against the grain. Figured that would be a pretty good test. See this soap? It's awfully creamy. There's plenty in the bowl. I mean, look at that. There's a number of soap makers on Etsy, hordes of them. Just a matter of seeking them out and trying one, see how it works for you. Trying to think for sure, but I think she was the first one I tried on Etsy. I mean, that you can tell. I don't know if you can tell. I know I can tell. It's got plenty of slickness. It just glides right on over the face. You might notice my stretching. I've learned over time. I've only started doing shavette shaving, I think, around the month of January this year, which is 2016. And my stretching is not quite like what maybe you might see with the straight razor. I don't have to stretch quite as much as what you might see in other videos in order to keep the skin taut. So in other words, your mileage may vary if you're just starting out to use a shavette or even a straight razor. The principle still applies both ways. There is an upside of using a shavette because it is not quite as long. The cutting edge is not quite as long as I guess you might say, a standard straight razor. Some of them have been shortened up. I like that style. I don't have one that's short. It does make me very much interested in one that is short because it seems like it'll fit on the face better, especially my face. If it helps any, in other words, with my facial hair, with no taller than I am, I'm not real tall. The space I have, the area I have to shave is smaller than somebody, let's say, that's 6 foot or bigger. So having a straight razor that's been shortened up would be pretty handy for me to have. It does make it easier to maneuver around facial hair and whatnot. As you can tell, It's pretty easy to work with. Yeah. Kind of glad I decided to do this. This is working out pretty good. But like I said, you know, you have to, that disclaimer, you know, proceed at your own risk when you try this at home. Because it is not designed to hold one of these. It didn't concern me, because when I put it in there and put the clamp down, like I said, it held it pretty firm. I was more concerned about the blade gap, whether it was too much or not enough. And for me, it seems to be working out just fine. Now, we'll have to say, typically with a half blade, or if I take a DE blade and snap it in half, typically what I do with that is it's usually a one and done, meaning I get my shave in and then I toss the blade. Those are pretty inexpensive, so it doesn't, how you say, bother me in my frugalness to do the one and done. I have tested some out. What was that, Perma-Sharp? See how many shaves I can get with a Perma-Sharp, as well as a feather DE blade snapped in half. And yes, especially with a feather, you can get more shaves than one out of them. It's just your mileage may vary. And plus, what you feel comfortable with. If you only feel comfortable with getting one shave, I understand. They're not real expensive. The feather is the, I guess you might say, one of the more expensive ones, as opposed to like a derby blade, for instance, whether it's already pre-cut or not. Pretty smooth shave. May have stumbled onto something. I ordered some from, you may have seen the Injector. It's relatively new, from Supply, where you have 3 plates to it to adjust aggressiveness, and I ordered some blades from them to give a try on my shavette, as well as my injectors I've got. Oh yeah, I am getting very little to nothing from the Allen block. I'm quite happy. This is a good shave. Great shave. Witch hazel. That's, wow. I should have thought of this earlier. I don't know if anybody else has tried it. Couldn't tell you. I haven't seen a video on it. I might be the only crazy one that decided to try it. Alright, we already got, oh my, about 19 minutes into this. Get my hands good and dry. I'm going to see if I can't show you what I did here. Here it is. I'm going to take the swing blade here, and like I say, it's pretty snug. Got it like that, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this without dropping the silly thing. I may have to do it down here where I can see what's going on here. It might stay because I've got soap in there, but put my hand underneath in case it drops. There you go. It did drop. At any rate, the top edge is resting on what I'm going to refer to as these 2 posts right here. The edge just pushes up next to it, and that's how far it goes up in there. Then I just put it together just like it was a regular half blade, and like I say, it's worked just fine. You decide to try something like that, try it at your own risk. Be very careful and stay safe. Smooth shaves until next time.